Dear students, today we will discuss Thomas Gray's poem Elegy written in a country churchyard. Thomas Gray, one of the most important poets of the 18th century, was born in 1716. When Thomas Gray's best friend Richard West died at the age of 24 in 1742, Gray wrote his first important English poems like Ode on Spring, Ode on a Distant Prospect of Eton College, The Bard. Here too he began his greatest masterpiece, Elegy written in a country churchyard. Literary historians usually identify Gray with a literary movement that is called sensibility, where earlier neoclassical poets like Jonathan Swift and Alexander Pope emphasized the rational powers of human beings. The neoclassical poets try to teach their readers how to think, whereas the poets of sensibility try to teach their readers how to feel. Thomas Gray's famous poem, Elegy written in a country churchyard, transcends the feeling of personal grief, and it is an expression of universal regret for those who could not prove their talent and died unanimously. To discuss this poem, Elegy written in a country churchyard, we should first know about elegy. What is elegy? So, we should come to know about elegy. Okay, what is an elegy? An elegy is a poem of mourning, mourning, mourning. It laments the death of a person or the death of some beloved friend or patron. Elegy means shok geet. It is a poem of mourning, vilap. It laments the death of a person or the death of some beloved friend or patron. There are two kinds of elegies. First, personal elegy, and second, impersonal elegy. In personal elegy, the poet laments the death of some close friend or relative. For example, in memory of W.B. Yeats, this is a poem by W.H. Auden. In this poem, the poet laments on the death of his best friend. So, it is the best example of a personal elegy. In an impersonal elegy, the poet grieves over human destiny or over some aspect of contemporary life and literature. So, Elegy written in a country churchyard by Thomas Gray is an example of impersonal elegy, because in this elegy the poet mourns the death not of great or famous people but of common people. It is not an impersonal elegy, but it is an impersonal elegy, because the poet mourns the death of common men, not a personal. It is not a personally. It is not personally. He doesn't lament over a personal friend, but he laments on the death of a common man. The poet sees a country churchyard at sunset, which compels him to meditate on the nature of human mortality. What is mortality? Nashvata. Mortality. So, in this poem, the poet poet tells us about the mortality of life. This poem can be divided into 5 groups of stanzas. Stanzas 1 to 5 explores the landscape, the country graveyard and its sound, and most importantly, the physical and metaphorical stage on which Gray's meditation will play out. Stanzas 6 and 7 briefly but emotionally describe the rustic activities the rude forefathers can no longer enjoy. In stanzas 8 to 18, Gray explores the contrast between the wealthy classes and the common laborers, all of whom are made equal in death. Stanzas 19 to 23 center on the villagers, deceased rustic people, and their inherent value as object of memory. The last group or the last stanza 24 to 32 includes the poet's own epitaph and describes the poet's meditation on how his poetic life will be remembered. So we can say that it is an impersonal elegy, and in this elegy the poet mourns over the death of common people who are buried in the graveyard and who are totally unknown. They had talent, but they could not enjoy their talent. No one could they could not come their talent out. They could not bring their talents out. They just died unanimously. Nobody knows them. Okay, they had talents, but they did not find any opportunity to show their talent. So the poet says that in this poem he tells about the immortality of life. Mortality of life. Mortality means nashwata. Okay. One day each and every person will come to an end. He or she will definitely die. The people will come to death. Okay. So he says that in this poem the poet wants to tell us that Elegy written in a country churchyard. The people who are who are lying in the churchyard, in the grave, okay, who are lying in the grave are totally he tells us about the people. He makes a distinction between people who are poor, and some people are rich and some people are poor. Some are famous and some are unknown to the world. So he tells us these are different kinds of people who are lying under the grave. They have died. Okay, the dead people who are lying under the grave have their different kinds of life. Poor had their different life and a rich person have their different kind of life, but they all are equally lying on the land in their graves, because some people spent their life in luxuriousness. Okay, some were very poor and some were very rich. The rich and the poor, okay, and the high and the low, these people are lying in the graves. So the poet wants to say in this poem that death does not escape anybody else. Death does not escape anybody else, whether he is poor or rich, whether he is high or low. The people who are very richest people and the poorest people are equally lying in their graves. So the poet wants to say that we should not proud on our life, because and he laments on the death of the people who are lying unknown unanimously, all who are lying unanimously. They had talents, farmers, okay, they had talent. The farmer, the common men of this village are lying under the graves, and they had talents, but they never got opportunity to show their talent. So the poet becomes very unhappy to see or to think about those people who did not get any opportunity to show their talent before the world. They are lying silently under their graves. So in this poem, he shows his views, and he laments, he mourns. So we can say that this is a kind of impersonal elegy, and what he says we will discuss in this poem. We will discuss in this poem how he says and how he becomes very unhappy while giving their description of, giving their description. So these thoughts will be discussed in this poem, Elegy written in a country churchyard. Tomorrow we will discuss this poem. Thank you.